Good afternoon and welcome back to the channel. Rolling into the big story. Well, it's got to be that interview. I mean, to be honest, we're looking at 139. Let's see, is it up there? 140 million views, impressions. It's got legs. And because of that, there is no denying the mainstream media machine is lagging behind. But before I carry water or tow a line, I would like to explain that this is a lot more complicated for me than it is the meme machine. The half hour of history lesson. Well, I am in the middle of it. I am an hour in at least between Ukraine on fire, revealing Ukraine, almost all of the Tucker interview, plus the spiritual battle speech that Putin himself gave. These are the things that I'm gonna get into over the next, I don't know how long it will take. What I'm not looking to do is say I'm right or someone else is wrong. I'm tired of being told what I can and can't talk about when I know I have thousands of examples of being allowed to question multiple sides of things and not literally hate on it or want it to disappear. Unless, of course, it's of an extremist nature, then may it burn it with fire. You know, burn it with fire till it's gone and ash. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about, I'm just a normie out in Wisconsin right now trying to understand all this. And everybody wants to tell me what to think. I thought I'd roll into some details myself. So, Oliver Stone's documentary here, I don't know if it's one-sided. I am a half hour or more into it as I'm refreshing now. And so far, I'm getting historical context. The historical context does match up with some stuff I heard in the speech, so I find it interesting. And then, oddly enough, as a crazy tinfoil hat conspiracy guy, I had already believed there was a problem with, let's say, Nazi ideology in the troops that our tax dollars were funding. And it got real confusing because at the beginning, right, the hearts and minds is in full swing, and we've got to help these poor people being oppressed by this, huge evil empire. Well, the more I watched, the more this is as nuanced and complicated as it gets, that the country maybe has multiple examples of where it should be two separate states. One, a fascist-leaning Nazi sympathizer state where we will go to show that it looks like the CIA protected extremists and moved them to the United States, let them die in peace. I don't know if the CIA coup is a real thing, but their leader, the Western propped up leader, which it appears there's good evidence of that being true, went to turn Nazi war criminals into national heroes. I didn't think we did that since the Nuremberg trial thing. Now, hey, if you're a secret Nazi, I'm sorry to burst your bubble. I'm not. Like, screw all that. I think all authoritarian regimes are crap. I do believe that an exchange system will always occur So true free market capitalism without monopolies and regulations, but of course not enough free will to kill each other because we're greedy animals. But yeah, that's about the only thing that works. You have to figure what works in the village is going to have to work in the real world. And it turns out I don't think you just get anything for free at the village level. Everyone has to partake. I'm pretty sure. That sit around and do nothing thing, I don't know if that's ever been real. But I digress. I don't want to run off the rails here. So we'll move forward. I'll be right back. So getting up to speed, not really realizing the turmoil that the Ukrainian areas went through. And if this is any bit truthful, it appears that rich farmlands, resources, and a resilient people are what it is at play here. It appears from a long time prior to World War I, even maybe having to take sides, pick teams, and defend oneself was a part of the existence there. So that's tough. I ain't bullshitting there. I mean, I can't imagine, and I'm grateful I can't. But it appears that this whole thing going to go all the way back prior to anybody else watching, prior to us being alive. That any current event, hearts and minds issues may be propaganda in the big picture. That it may be super complicated. And, well, let's keep going. So I have entered the section where there's multiple declassified CIA documents talking about protecting extremists after World War II to take them under the wing of the U.S. intelligence departments to do the spying on the Soviets. Thing is as the tinfoil... You better get out here, ducky ducky. As a confirmed tinfoil hat wearing individual, paperclip, baby. Maybe all that technology wasn't worth absorbing Nazi ideology into the system. But it appears that we just gung-ho for that shit. And then activists accuse non-Nazis of being Nazis to dehumanize them while they go up and give a round of applause to actual war criminals up there in Canada. It turns out our CIA brings the vicious ones to America and lets them live in the suburbs. I don't care what my neighbor does anymore. I want the government held accountable for what it does. It's long time to bring up a new global world trial, and all of the clandestine activities of all nations should be brought to a halt. Fuck this shit. Stupid. And so there's an atrocity that they say take place back then. Over 2 days, 33,000 people put down. If that is, and I would have to side research that. I can't actually side. I think whatever we did is wrong. Whatever they did is wrong. What the wrong is wrong. Until we start addressing all the wrong that's been done, I'm not listening to anybody else's, right? We can't go back and fix it, but we could start actually learning from it. This idea that we pick and choose. Well, it appears that this entire thing is way more complicated than, oh God, those poor people, let's help. That appears to be the literal brainwashed zombie take on the fucking war in Ukraine. That's what I can tell just from the time that I have in now. That it is so much more complicated, and they ideologically leaned whichever authoritarian machine crushed them the most. Well, I would argue that they need to embrace some liberty and freedom, not big daddy government save me now. And the documentaries, whether they're true or not, are adding context to that speech that I watched. So now I understand the massacres that are being reflected upon in that speech. And I just learned about 33,000 in a 2-day op, and then maybe same kind of numbers over a couple years in Poland. And then this is not right. I mean, from the conquest of America to anywhere. I get it. I ain't fucking special from it. But isn't it all part of the story? Who are we funding? What ideology are we trying to save? And what kind of illusions do we have to believe to keep supporting these ideas? Because it sounds like they're all based on bad will, bad immoral judgment, just horrible decision making in the face of we're just bad decision makers. I know that. And now I got to the section where from the speech they're talking about the election, and it turns out they had a really screwed up election too. I mean, I don't see where a state let them burn a police station to the ground to signal the fringe element that they could apply direct action in the streets to rally the hearts and minds. That was all that because that was an American coup. Over here, it looks like bad elections, and a state Western-backed leader whose wife was in our own State Department, I think they said. I'm not trying to steal his video. Very interesting, because then the elections that was in the speech from the Tucker interview is this thing I'm learning about right now. 3 separate elections. They finally install the Western-backed guy who gets, secretly radiation poisoned. But I'm pretty sure right now, as a crazy person, I'm thinking that was by their own people. Because I don't think we were supposed to know that he actually made Nazi war criminals national heroes. Is that who we back? I mean, can you sell that to the American people right now? I'm not a betting man, but I don't think you can. So maybe the poisoning was actually to distract from the fact that he was a Nazi douchebag installed by the West to continue undermining the other half of the country who sided with the other team. Boy, talk about a divided place. I do have to double down. I'm going to take one part from this because I think he says it better than me.
The 2 major candidates, Western-backed Viktor Yushchenko and Russian-leaning Viktor Yanukovych, almost equally shared the votes of Ukrainians. By the way, calling Viktor Yushchenko Western-backed is not an exaggeration. His wife, Katerina Yushchenko, is a former U.S. State Department official and worked in the White House during the Reagan administration. The division was along geographic lines.
So we'll leave it at that. I'm not trying to, right? So I think this is what was being discussed. And I think it's supposed to mean that the context of the division of the country, and then even though I believe it was a propaganda hearts and minds play, is one side atheist, transhumanist driven, and is the other side Orthodox Christianity, traditional values driven? Is that at all part of it? Is there an old world and new world order clash here? I mean, that's why I had to watch the spiritual battle speech too. Because I don't know. I heard enough about targeted gene weapons and transhumanist systems to turn us into mindless flesh slugs. Yeah. Oh, that last thing was for entertainment purposes only. Remember, this is it's an opinion. That's all. I'm just researching my opinion live with y'all, and we'll see how far we can get. And yeah, I mean, then after it was all settled, he went in and turned the Nazi into a hero.
Відстоюванні національної ідеї,
What?
виявлені героїзм і самопожертву в боротьбі за незалежну українську державу, постановляю присвоїти.
Unbelievable. So I think that's why it came up. And now I'm starting to understand that our ties, I mean, I don't know. I don't have any secret Nazi friends. But it sure seems like the government does. Sure. And then after that whole fiasco, and I'm just paraphrasing, like I said, I don't know if it's right. The other guy gets back into power, landslide victory. Everyone agrees it's legitimate. 4 more years of protests, violence, and direct action. Almost like they burned a police station there and signaled the Black Bloc activists that they could do their direct actions against society, which, basically terrorism. Which I don't know why we can't find these cuck pussies in their grandma's basement and just, ooh, man, that's how you know the citizens are actually have massive trigger control, because they haven't went down to the scrubby heroin flop and just kicked the crap out of all the scumbag Antifa. So it don't mean anti-fascist, bitch. You're just the same. You're an authoritarian jackboot thug. You're just funded by your mama's and your grandma's credit card. You loser bitch. Sure. And then their communities burn. Because whenever this stuff goes on, you notice none of the direct action goes against people in power pulling the strings or making decisions. All the direct action goes against you or me, the citizen. Because it's hearts and minds terror, isn't it? To scare you into submission. Once again, I doubled down on the trigger discipline of American citizens. Obviously, these LARPing assholes do not go into communities of value. They go into their own grandma's backyard, and grandma lets them burn the garage down. And then says, there you go, Junior, you feel good? You want a snack pack and a pudding? Should I get you some string cheese so you could go to the direct action? Don't forget your bottled water. Oh, we just had another major player show up in the game. Turns out they had deals going with the Russians. This seems like an interview the actual ex-president of Ukraine gave. The Russian-sided guy. All right. Says he got some... the economy appears to be in shambles. You got deals going with Russia, but then trying to cut a new deal with the EU. And then we had 2 partners, he says.
Два партнера. Прежде всего мы...
We counted upon the International Monetary Fund. Well, there's your New World Order. Well, then There's, yeah, Satan's borrowing them money. Oh, if you're pro IMF, then you obviously love authoritarianism, control, and believe that your elite betters know more than you. This has always been the wrong channel for you then. Because it turns out no amount of wealth makes a difference. Nope. Don't care. I just care that they wield it like a weapon and then set up countries for destruction and death by debt. And just destroy their economy so they could swoop in with their transhumanistic agenda and New World Order decision-making processes. Duckies, how we doing? Oof. We're going hard. Oh, then this was way back then. Then they choked him out with energy. Oh, just like what a scam. Hey, from Elon Musk to on, stick that carbon, unless that carbon tax is only for the jet-setting mega yacht set, you could just come transhumanist all over my crotch with your fucking pie hole. I just bullshit. Bullshit. Let's go tinfoil hat crazy and unleash 0-point energy and free energy, I guess. Because it appears that money and energy restraints are how we enslave people. I don't think any of us should be happy until the state of human bondage is ended. And it is a debt slavery. You don't have to have the plantation. You just need a central bank digital currency. And the shackles are on. Or that fiat shit in our wallets. It's all the same.
Прежде всего.
Whoops, wrong button. Ha! I wonder why this all has to exist over on Rumble. I'm guessing the mainstream doesn't really want us to know this part of it. Because whether I like him or not, I mean, it looks like Stone sat down face-to-face with Putin. Just like in that interview with Tucker, we're at the part back in 2013 where the custom borders and the flow of goods was available from Russia, while the International Monetary Fund, the EU, is choking them out with energy. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know why we would. I don't know why the entire globalist agenda isn't brought up in a world court for us all to condemn and put down. I just don't understand it. None of this shit feels organic. It feels completely manipulated through and through. And I'm willing to watch another side's take on it. But so far, he's been addressing both sides of the issue. I mean, it appears he's addressing it from a, anti-war stance, but I'm pretty cool with that. And I'll be damned if the answer in this documentary from that time, whenever this was made, the answer was the same in the interview last night. They went and chose to not take this deal, and the price was theirs to pay. I mean, if you get in bed with the transhumanist Nazi New World Order agenda, there's the bed you decided to lie in. I mean, these candidates, the open extremist ideology in these political groups. Now I understand why it was said. Holy smokes, I cannot be held responsible and accused of any of this no more when the same people that say that garbage are funding those people. No, you do not get your cake and eat mine too. No, This is ridiculous. I didn't realize how many literal, man. Every other person is a literal far extremist. Fringe candidates all over the place. I can't. What a shit show. And then I get, half hour into this one, just in case you'd want to find it over on Rumble. And I believe the things I'm saying about the police station burning down and the signaling. Like I told Ange, you could see there was a Jeep with black bloc dressed LARPers right there waiting. And this could be a bad guy for all I know, but chief of police. So, I mean, but I do believe they start the peaceful protest and then the LARPers infiltrate it and they're really activists applying direct action or terrorism to the event to sway the hearts and minds. We watched it play out, right? They were exempt from the pandemic, but not exempt from burning a neighborhood. Didn't have to worry about pandemic restrictions, but you could TikTok murders in the street. And as far as did anybody get charged with them? I don't know. I just know I watched them and they're, ruined my life. So I do get it's because it's happened. It's happened so many times. I knew what was happening to us. It's very, very interesting. But they infiltrate these events and then turn the crowd against. Man, very interesting. And this is just one side crying over another. Boy, division is all it takes to ruin us. We are weak. Humans are weak.
Forces behind the unrest.
An NGO is a non-governmental organization. Now, many NGOs are quite legitimate. They represent good causes. Maybe they help people in a country feed or deal with water problems or deal with various kinds of social problems. But there are some NGOs.
Yeah, NGOs. Hey, we got another player in this party. Like the IMF, multiple NGOs are the direct enemy of the tinfoil hat community, the conspiracy theorist, or the literal just informed viewer. It turns out fronts for nefarious activities and nation building, empire destroying, behind the scenes manipulation. And to double down, Mr. Stone here, I really like Platoon. I like some of the stuff he made. I do. He went with declassified regime change in South America and Asia. Hey, did we do that? Wait, is that real? Is that problematic to the current narrative that the system is good, daddy government's got your back? Yes, it is. Completely problematic, to say the least. We're going to go with a little more of this because it's a lot better than I can say.
And serve more the purpose of that government rather than trying to serve the people that they are ostensibly working for. One thing we saw in the 1980s, at that point the Central Intelligence Agency had been largely discredited because of scandals that had been exposed in the 1970s.
For 15 years, the CIA has secretly financed overseas activities of the National Students Association. But then there came to light a fantastic web of CIA penetrations.
So when the Reagan administration came in, there was this concept that instead of having the CIA, which traditionally would go into these different target countries, funding their media, funding NGOs, funding different political operations, that was...
Now, wow. He's probably just a tinfoil hat crazy person too. But that resonates with things I believe old nutjob Rollen's been pretending to say for 2 years. That from the messaging to the hearts and minds appeal to the current machine is a what is it? Hegelian dialect, Bernays-esque mind fuck, and we eat it up like pablum. Baby food to the infant minds of the flesh slugs. It's supposed to hurt a little bit because we shouldn't want to be this. We should want to be able to talk about all this, not dehumanize anyone who thinks it has value. I'm more than willing to hear the counter arguments. How these coups and infiltrations and how Project Mockingbird, how government-controlled propaganda getting into Michael Bay films is good. Please, I'm willing to hear the counter-argument. I don't think I'm right. I just think it's time to say one side should shut the fuck up. I'm tired of hearing one side of the machine roar. I don't think it's firing on all 8. And I'd like to check out what's wrong with the other 4 cylinders that don't get enough attention. Ain't generating enough propaganda. You know, if I'm going to be propagandized, I want to be propagandized by both sides equally. This ain't going to be a one-sided affair, I don't believe. It appears easy research into the National Endowment for Democracy, NED. It's a private nonprofit foundation dedicated to the growth and strengthening of democratic to strengthening Chinese democracy and social credit scores and the control of the transhumanist flesh slugs. Oh, okay. I get what it is. Oh, yeah, I changed because I'm doing dishes on the side, too. I'll listen to some of it, go do some dishes. And it turns out that the NGOs funded by government agencies go in and train activists to learn how to optimize search engines to get farther reach. I wonder if that's to control the hearts and minds of the viewers. Hey, do you remember when the one side said it was all Russian bots? And oh gosh, there's probably lots of Russian bots, Chinese bots, North Korean bots, South Korean bots. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a whole K-pop army that can infect the world. Don't shit on DTBS, whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm sure that all exists. But is that what they're doing? Infiltrating the information stream and contaminating it so hard you don't know what to believe anymore? Huh. That's interesting.
If you don't read the newspaper, you are uninformed. If you read the newspaper, you are misinformed.
Sure. And I enter another category, and I think both sides do this. But sure, when their color change revolution popped up, so did 3 magical stations that had a beautiful, beautiful bubble to feel safe in. Tissues, fleshlights, whatever the fuck you wanted. I mean, they had it for you. As long as you agreed with their programming. Huh. Weird. Weird. That's crazy. Oh, Lord. And there it is. Just like the pandemic protests, they started out with good intentions. I would never condemn the people who thought they were fighting the good fight and lined up for the photo ops. They were, like they call the person who did the interview that this whole thing is about, they were useful idiots. Just like the guy doing the interview is a useful idiot, according to the other side. It turns out we both get to wield that same rhetoric. These individuals here brought their kids. They trusted the police. There was a moment where it was peaceful protest and airing of grievances. Then the activist LARPers show up. Because what is naturally in our hearts is not that the torch and pitch fire marches, okay? I know this is true. That is the mob mentality riled up by a couple rabble-rob. People can get the mob to do stupid things, but they almost always start out there to air their grievances, because that's what our natural instinct would be, is we'd like to express what's wrong. I don't get smashed in the head for it, and I don't need to burn down Parliament. My God, it's somewhere in the middle. It's gotta be somewhere in the middle. Wow. Okay, so now I've been gone for 40 minutes since I was here. Finished the dishes, but then I had to talk to the boss. Because it turns out the truly big story in my life is my brand new job providing handyman services and installing quality repairs in people's homes. That's the big story. Everything else is secondary. But from what I'm learning, yeah, they had their own police station burned, mysteriously maybe. It's not that. I'm using that metaphorically. Just an example. I'm going to learn about that, but I'm going to wrap this up because we're already 40 minutes in, and it's obviously going to have to be in 2 parts. And I'm never going to get through it at this pace, so I better just start watching and take some notes. I do like having it available to show, though, so I don't know. Maybe I'm just gearing back up. I've just been gone for a long time. It appears that it is really complicated, and that long-winded speech and history lesson was on purpose for reasons of context, because it appears the events going on that are so important date back a lot farther than just a simple act of aggression and some hurt feelings or the actual horror of it all. Try not to snap and freak out on all that stuff. Okay, I figured it out what they did. I see. I see why he's interviewing who he interviewed. And I don't know if it's true. But we'll wrap it up with this for now, and then I'll get to a part 2. So it appears one of the big events was a gathering of people. I wanted to put up some Christmas tree or something. Like I said, I don't know how these details are all accurate. This is what I just learned. I'm taking one side right now. And the guys, the chief of police, head of police, is bust his ass. He says he's went home, went to sleep, got up at 6:30, and in the time that he was left out of control, new forces came in and started beating people mysteriously. He went to bed discussing, I think, putting up a Christmas tree or something. Nah, it seems pretty, hey, kind of hallmarky, so I'm not saying anything. I don't know. But I know how defund the police came to be, and I saw some of that stuff, and I just think I've been played. I don't know about anybody else, but I think I've been played and lied to. And, I find the entire thing just incredible. And we're going to get on. The big story right now, in my opinion, was, like the amount of views. Well, how many views we got now? It was up there. Still not 24 hours in. 146 million. Looks like it's slow in its roll. But, I think the big story is mainstream cannot stop the birth of the new media. It won't exist on the Matrix. Well, the Matrix, it exists in the Matrix. But the mainstream is going to lose control, in my personal opinion. All opinions for entertainment purposes only. But I don't think they're going to be able to control the narrative much longer. And if I learned anything at the WEF meetings that I watched and talked about, is that they openly talked about losing control of the narrative. So, either all those international monetary funded driven NGOs are scared of an invisible boogeyman that does not exist, or the wild meme warriors are actually winning. And it's a scary fucking idea when they think about it from the tippy top.